Hello, everyone, and welcome to Last Take. I get the last take, motherfuckers. A More Hoops production. I'm your host, Evan Moore, and yeah, it's Friday. It's Friday. Pat's smiling. Doom's still drunk as always, and hey, we fucking made it, you know. But of course, as any day, all day, every day, people are always saying dumb shit. So that's why I'm here. So yeah, to kick things off tonight, our good old buddy Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick. Using a tired old take. How many freaking times are we going to get the AD is going to demand a trade? He was talking about how there's going to be possible friction between him and JJ, and he thinks AD will demand a trade by mid-season. Give me a fucking break, Perk. You know, I understand you're Celtic. Yeah, you've got to root for our downfall, you know, but come on, man. Like, you can come up with a better take than that. Come on, come on. And like, we also get something to, make that take look stupid because we also got news this week that JJ and AD met up and had like a nice long, like hours long conversation. So yeah, like all these rumors about the two of them having issues and having friction, you know, I think are made up, and it's all based on the slight for the all defensive team, and you know I think as someone who like when that happened, like I was talking shit to JJ, but I think I personally think it's overblown, So anyway, I think people need to chill out on that, and like AD is not asking for a trade. You know, all of these things, they keep saying this about, Braun all the time. Braun's going to demand a trade. Braun's not going to want to come back. Like, this is Los Angeles, man. Like, you underestimate. You underestimate. So, but of course, they've got to talk about us because we drive the ratings. There's so many of us Laker fans. We drive engagement. You know, and here I am, responding to it, and people are gonna say that like, oh, hey, I'm just helping it out, and like in a way I am, like, I'm not gonna deny that, but like, you know I'm also not gonna just sit back and let them have these ridiculous takes every day. That's why I created the show, so that I can have my rebuttal at the end of the day. So, Kendrick, give me a fucking break. Take that bullshit somewhere else. uh and then, of course, you know the guy who loves to trade AD every like 2 weeks. Colin Cowherd even has to like pipe in today too with some ridiculous trade that, like, yeah, I barely remember. It was like 4 first round picks, and yeah, like I yeah, I can't even remember the other two players that he threw in there, but like, Colin, all the time with you, all the time. You're just you've been trying to trade AD for a good couple seasons now, like, and every fucking trade is awful, just awful. Like, if, you're gonna, I understand you're gonna use us for clicks, but can we, like, at least be a little more creative and at least put a little more thought into it? Like, it just feels like you throw this shit together sometimes, you know, just like whoever's like throwing it together for you is just you need somebody a little bit smarter, a little bit whippier. Hey, well, what do I know? I'm just a jackass with a podcast, as always. And then that also brings me on to my next point. Like JJ, well, like JJ needs to stop being disrespected so much by everybody. Like calling him a podcaster is so disrespectful. Like, I mean, he played for 15 years. He also played under Coach K in college. He's a very smart guy. He's also shown you as a broadcaster, he's a very smart, capable basketball mind. Also shown you he's very dedicated to this game. So now I understand the experience is definitely an issue, but reducing him to just a podcaster is so petty and just like ridiculous and not fair. Like, come on, man. Like, he's much more than a podcaster, And yes, he is a coach. Yes, we do not know if he's going to be a good coach at all. It is a coin flip at this point. Nobody is going to argue that. But, there is a potential high upside, because of his dedication and his basketball brain. So show him a little bit more respect. He is more than just a fucking podcaster. So anyway, and that also, you know, moves me on to my next topic, which is I think it's going to be an eternal question here until it gets settled. I brought it up yesterday on yesterday's show that it looks like Rui is one of their favored core moving forward. So I think Vando might be out. So a lot of people on the timeline today were asking Rui or Vando, which feels like a fair question, but it's also, oh man, it's like one of those like sweating it out, like which button do I push kind of questions. Like, yeah, I don't like that question. I'd love to be able to keep both of them. I would absolutely love to be able to keep both of them, but the reality of it is that those are probably the two most tradable contracts we have, and one of them's probably going to get traded, in one of the moves we make. So, if not both. So, trying to pick between the two is tough. Like I love Rui's offense. I love his mid-range game. But, yeah, the fact that he shit the bed in the playoffs this year, yeah, that's that's a big strike against him. And I love Vando, but he's limited on offense, even though he was getting better. The injury, brings a lot of things into question still. So that's a tough question. It feels like Laker fans are going to be arguing this, you know, until it gets settled too. Like I don't see any like quick end to this at all. And then on to my last topic here before we finish up. This was an interesting thing people brought up, and my first reaction was I thought it was a little weird, but then I was reminded on the timeline as well as remember myself that Steve Kerr did it himself. Is should Reddick coach in summer league? And I think it's a good idea. I think it's like as I joked on the timeline, shooters kind of need a warm up, and yeah, I think it'd be good for him. I think that he's got kind of that like type A personality that would kind of jump at it too. Plus we don't have anybody on the coaching staff right now anyway. He's the only one we've got right now anyway. Just might as well give it a shot. So anyway, that's just a few days away, and we'll see what happens.